Hey everybody, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
So, all right, you complainers. Here's Ultimate Spider-Man. We're doing another one.
Yeah.
Ah, finally! 20 of us love it! Here's the thing. Ultimate Spider-Man is the ongoing saga of this kid named Peter Parker who has extraordinary abilities, written by Brian Michael Bendis, with art primarily by Mark Bagley. There's no, single arc. It's just the chronicling of this teenager who is Spider-Man.
Right.
And so not all of them are gonna be seminal moments to cover on back issues.
Right.
They ain't all gonna be winners.
That's right. We did this one a little bit. I want to bring it out as an example of Spider-Man and Wolverine swap brains, and Johnny Storm goes to Peter's high school for a few seconds. That's that one. Hobgoblin. Who's Hobgoblin?
Well, he looks like a giant monster, and isn't he Norman Osborn's son?
Yes, because Green Goblin was a big monster, but green.
And what happened to Harry?
He became an orange monster.
Okay.
I mean, and you know what? The 616 or main prime Marvel Hobgoblin, way more interesting, way cooler, better design, better costume. And we'll see how far we get. We might get into Warriors.
We're not doing that. We're putting this away. Though.
Yeah, that's
this
done.
This is just
that's just a visual aid.
Let's put that over there.
But Warriors is cool, kinda. I remember it being cooler than it actually.
Moon Knight?
It is Moon Knight, the debut of Ultimate Moon Knight.
Whoa.
That's cool. We should just do that.
Oh man,
Screw
I much like the front cover versus the back cover, where it's Iron Fist and somebody.
Yeah, Shang-Chi,
Ah.
who's getting his own movie.
Wow, so they're just and here's a bunch of lesser characters who are all going to be in one story.
That's Bendis, especially in Ultimate Spider-Man. He's just like, I guess I'll introduce Moon Knight.
And everybody else.
And Iron Fist.
Well, I don't. Okay, so it was what a golden age for telling serialized fiction at Marvel, because the sales were good, but in today's world, Marvel would never just let a writer go do whatever the hell they wanted in another universe for as long as they want to, as long as the number hits this number. It's just, he goes, well, I'm on issue 78. How about Moon Knight? I'm going to introduce Moon Knight.
Look, there's not going to be a Moon Knight, ultimate Moon Knight.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
So he's mine.
The only person who's going to bring Moon Knight in is me.
Right.
And I'm here. So I guess I'll put him in a Spider-Man book.
Yep.
No Moon Knight spinoff. And I'll just pick and choose and make up whatever the hell I want. Because I've never read a Moon Knight book in my entire life.
Because I don't know anything about Moon Knight.
Because I literally know nothing about Moon Knight, so I'm just gonna make it all up. You could tell, at some point he goes well, I have the big points I mapped out, but I gotta fill in all these issues. I don't know. How about it's New York. It's a big place. There's regions of different ethnicities and stuff. I guess I could do a Shang-Chi story. Do I have anything in that? I have an issue or two. I'll spread that into 5 and then move it on. Who's Iron Fist? I don't fucking know. And I have no respect for that character. So, how about Iron Fist? I'll make him friends with Shang-Chi. That way I don't have to do 2 different things.
Yeah, they're supporting characters.
Yeah. In the Spider-Man book.
Exactly.
And they have almost no pages together at all. And when Spider-Man shows up, he, as a meta analog for the author, is why are you guys even here? He has no respect for them, and he has no interest in dealing with them. But Hobgoblin, the main gist of it is Harry Osborn's back.
Okay.
He just goes back to school, and he's like, hey, I'm back. And everybody's happy, and then Peter takes Mary Jane aside, and he's like, listen.
He's crazy.
Yeah. You weren't on the White House lawn when all hell broke loose. His dad was carted away, and Harry was like, I'm going to kill everybody. And
he went full supervillain.
And I felt really bad. And he knows I'm Spider-Man. Because my mask was off for 2/3 of that book. But she's like, what? Why? What? And he's like,
okay, he's bad. That's all you need to believe. He's bad.
Peter tries to cut to the chase with her throughout the book. And throughout the last 11 volumes.
Can we just skip this dialogue?
Yes. It's and it's funny because it's Bendis. It's no, never. But he goes, listen, just why do I always have to tell a story? Why can't you just trust me on this one? Just trust me and just leave it alone. And she's like, what? And he just screams in her face. He's like, just do what I say.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay,
just
Peter.
do what I say.
Yeah. And then she goes, I didn't kill Gwen Stacy.
What?
And he's like, okay.
Cool. So I take it we're broken up again?
Right. So it's over? So then she cries and she runs away.
Oh. Well, he did scream at her.
It's pretty on brand. So another plot point is
They
that,
were both terrible to each other.
yes. I mean, listen, like they're 15.
Yeah.
They're going to say all kinds of messed up, stupid stuff because they have no idea what's appropriate and what isn't.
Right.
But also Peter is in the wrong. I mean, he should just sit her down and explain everything to her. And if she's like upset, she doesn't have superpowers. So like she gets a pass on like
Right.
on getting context.
Yeah, but at the same time, Peter's 15. He doesn't have that kind of like mental capacity to be like, all right, I know what I need to do. I need to
it's
sit her
true.
down and
Yeah.
talk to her.
he
I'm
is-
going to be rational.
He's a cauldron of emotions, but so is she.
He's like, I was there. So to me, it's obvious. I don't know
Exactly.
how to like.
Yeah.
Either you believe me or you
And
don't.
there's no way I didn't tell you about it. So it's not like, well,
Well,
why do I have
yeah.
to keep connecting the dots for you? But also another plot point is that they're moving. Because
Peter's moving?
Peter and Aunt May are moving 2 blocks away.
Oh.
Oh, whoop-dee.
Well, Aunt May's husband died and her de facto like daughter.
Right.
Both of them were murdered on their like in her house. So
Yeah.
she's like,
I can't live here.
I can't live here anymore.
Yeah.
You've been living here for 12 volumes.
Yeah.
Well, but Gwen died only like, what, 2 ago?
2 or 3
Yeah.
ago, so yeah. So she's like, woo! This is cathartic for me. Peter goes into the basement. She's
You're
like,
not
"Pack your
burning the
shit."
house down.
No, but I'm leaving. I'm taking all my things and I'm leaving this place of misery.
And I'm leaving those horrible experiences as
behind.
well.
Yeah. So Harry's in Peter's basement and he's like, hey. So they have this back and forth and he's like, so where did you go? Like what the last time I saw you, you said you were gonna kill everybody.
You went somewhere, you learned something.
Yeah.
Did you meditate a lot?
Right. And he's like, they sent me to Colorado. I lived in this like kind of estate for a while. And I remember everything. And Harry has a lot of like issues with memory. Where like, he doesn't remember like what his father did, how his mother died, like all kinds of like weird repressed memories with Harry. Harry's like a mess.
Right.
But Peter's like, so you do remember everything? And Harry takes out Peter's mask and he's like, yeah. Yeah. And he's
Yeah, I know
like,
you're Spider-Man.
and he's like, it's funny because like the accident in my dad's lab when this all started, my dad becomes a big monster. My mom dies, but you get to be a superhero and date my girlfriend. And Peter's like, back up. Girlfriend? And it turns out that Harry had dated Mary Jane before Peter.
Oh.
There's a retcon of the first volume.
Okay.
How would that have never come up?
Right. That happens a lot in Ultimate Spider-Man, where like thing like not and
Oh, by the way.
by the way, I should point out that like they're not treated like grand reveals.
Right, right. It's
I mean,
just
like if you're invested in Ultimate Spider-Man, you're like, what? But as far as the ongoing narrative, it's like
Melodrama, oh my god!
oh no, this 16-year-old boy was dating a 15-year-old girl that they all knew and hung out with. The horror.
Well, this is a bomb drop for Peter because now he's going to be like, why didn't you tell me, Mary Jane?
Bingo!
Yep.
Whoop-de shit.
Yeah, but like he's a 15-year-old boy. They care about that kind of thing.
Is that why she didn't believe him? She was like, "What, Harry? But I know Harry. I dated Harry. How could he be a murdering
Yeah.
psychopath?
Yeah.
Or I want to be murdering psychopath."
Right, but
I'm not going to tell you I
he
dated
didn't
him.
even tell her that he was a murdering psychopath or wanted to be. He just was like, stay away from him.
Oh.
He was just wanted to control her.
Oh, that's much
I-
worse.
Oh,
I
so
agree.
it's just Harry's back, stay away from him.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No. What?
Jesus Christ, Peter.
I know. But his motives are altruistic because he didn't know that they had dated beforehand. So it's not like he's like, don't go anywhere near your ex-boyfriend. It was
Right.
just, and Peter has been for like 11 volumes been like, what the hell? Like every other time I'm Spider-Man, you almost die. And it's all because you always like show up or ask too many effing questions.
Okay, the way you said that last part, which is like, I need you to leave me alone in my Spider-Man life. You just asked so many fucking questions.
I feel like I'm gonna lose it. That's it.
Peter, where'd you go? That's it! That's it!
Just picks her up and throws her in a tree. We get a flashback to Colorado. Nick Fury goes to visit Harry, and he's like, hey, man, so, like, let's talk about stuff. Like, let's work things out, you and me, because that's what the head of a world peacekeeping task force does, is go to Palacio Estates in Colorado and talk to head cases of the offspring of their biggest villains. And so Nick's like, what do you remember about, like, your mom and stuff? He's like, yeah, she died in a fire. He's like, no. She died in a fire your dad created, turning into a monster. Your dad killed your mom. I need to fill in all the blanks, man.
Yeah, stop idolizing your dad.
I need you to not idolize this monster.
Get over it. You did get all of his money, though, so you're the richest kid at your school. Congratulations. Get out of here. I also need this place. Like, he doesn't say that, but, like, it's a big place. It's all for this one kid.
Right.
No, get out.
I got more troubled would-be supervillains to run through the therapy thing that we do here.
Bingo! It never comes up again, but I love that there's like this massive, gorgeous Colorado estate just for the one kid, and then Nick Fury shows up and he's like, okay, all you've been doing is jerking off in every room of the house. I need to get a breakthrough in here. Get out.
I have 3 rooms left!
No.
You can't! I can't do
I'm cutting you off at the knees!
My one regret.
So it turns out that Harry did not immediately go to school. He spent a week kind of like spying on everybody. So he saw like Johnny Storm hanging out with Peter and Mary Jane, and he's like,
how does he know he's Johnny Storm?
well, it's just
he just sees that guy.
He sees that guy. But,
Okay.
He's like, who's that guy?
he's linking it to volume 12. And, he's getting his money and he's getting flashbacks, like visions of his memories, but he doesn't have like full image. Like, I love how they portray what he's trying to remember. 'Cause it's just like, just motion and fire.
Right.
But he's getting his money. He goes to the to Oscorp, and it's a disaster area because, like of the last superhero fight.
Right.
And
nobody cleaned it up.
nobody cleaned it up because, like, they own it.
Right.
And, the estate planner's like, well, so we got a lot of bids on this place, and we'll clean it out and blah, blah, blah. And Harry's like, leave it. And they're like, it costs a lot of money for this thing to just be sitting here being a hole in the ground.
Yeah,
We
could make
still owe
money
taxes
on
on it,
Right,
whether
he's
it's productive or not.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't care. You're going to leave it. And he's like, why? And he goes, because it's mine.
Oh.
So then Harry gets a phone call, and the phone call tells him to meet him outside. He goes outside, and he is met by a character who was introduced in the first volume, Norman Osborn's go-getter / enforcer. I believe his name's Shaw.
him.
Yeah, he only shows up a little bit.
Okay.
Harry gets in the car with Shaw. They drive out to Jersey, and he's like,
Oh, not here. Not Jersey, man. I
know.
don't want to be here.
Bendis always references Jersey, and it's like, you don't know anything about New Jersey. Like, you're from friggin'...
Yes, I do. I watch The Sopranos.
Yeah, oh, damn it.
I know everything about New Jersey. I've flown into Newark 20 times. Your whole state's a dump.
Hey, congratulations, you're everyone else in the country. So anyway, Shaw's a complete asshole to Harry, and he basically takes him to this, like, bunker where he's like, this is your inheritance. This is your real inheritance. You got a bunch of money in a gorgeous penthouse. No. The real inheritance is goblin formulas and daughters and stuff. And so...
It's time for you to take up the mantle or to become the psychopath you were born to be.
He doesn't even illustrate what the plan is. He's just like, it's yours. Also, he then drops this like passphrase. He says cellar door, and all of Harry's memories come flooding back.
Oh.
What?
This is also, by the way, a flashback before he goes to school. So these are all the things that leading up to Harry showing up. Yeah, we're gonna Tarantino it. That's what Bendis does in this whole volume. Is just we
Jump
see something
around.
and then we go back 6 days or 4 days or 2 hours.
Right. That's confusing.
Yes, I agree.
So we're to believe that he was like programmed?
Yes, that like, unbeknownst to Harry, Norman put him in hypnotic therapy sessions, which would tuck away unpleasant memories that could be unlocked later on at Norman's convenience.
Right.
Again, another form of control.
Okay.
The whole book is about control.
Right.
And I use the most beautiful, interesting passphrase in the English language.
Yeah.
Cellar door.
Oh, it feels good to say. But anyway, the reason why he says cellar door is because there is like a literal cellar door that leads to Harry's like true inheritance, which
Exactly.
of course is goblin formulas and crap.
So why didn't Shaw ever go down there and like get
Take
shit?
it because
Yeah.
no, because he's a loyal servant.
Yeah. I
mas-
work for the Osborns.
That's
Your
right.
master is dead.
That's right. That's
No,
right.
he's not, because he's right here.
Yeah.
Because once the elder died, then the son becomes...
He's not dead.
Okay.
He's just in jail,
Oh,
and that's
right.
why he doesn't.
Well, once he's locked away, then
Yeah.
I listen. I gotta listen to some Osborn.
Right. Yeah, that's my whole
And
thing.
this one's not ready. I gotta bring him up to speed.
I gotta get another one.
Yeah.
So, like literally, the plan I think for Shaw is like we gotta get Norman out of jail, but we don't know where he is because S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't tell you.
I see.
And I can't just break into every prison in the U.S.
No, well, he's probably not in any prison. It's probably in like a box underground in the middle of nowhere. But we see Peter's school, which like sucks. He's this really annoying teacher whose name I don't know, and all he does is he like gives people busy work. He is every teacher. He gives people busy
You've
work.
definitely had this teacher before.
Oh yeah, and he's always railing at the kids about like how they're lazy and don't do anything. And I remember at one point later in the episode, he
Oh no, you're turning into me.
yeah, he's complaining about how he's like, all you had to do for homework was watch a DVD, and you couldn't do it. Blah, 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 blah. And like while he's complaining, Peter just gets up and leaves. Like he's just dumb. And
He walks out of the class.
yeah, and he goes, where are
they
you
don't like when
going?
you do that.
And he goes, oh, the bathroom. And he goes, you sit down right now. And he goes, or what, you'll fail me? I could teach this class. And then leaves.
Oh shit.
And he's like, what doesn't happen and what would absolutely happen is,
Peter would get flunked.
no, the teacher would have a personal vendetta against him and anyone named Parker for the rest of his life.
Yep.
Because that is exactly what happened at our school, and it is exactly what happened at your school. So, anyway, Peter's sitting in class, and he's just like moping around. He's sad because like he wants to be with Mary Jane, but she's just so stupid. And it's like not
Just
really.
won't listen.
Just won't listen to me. She won't shut up. And she's just like, and
Now she made out with Harry.
yeah, that's right.
How dare she kiss anyone else before me
Yeah.
and have a life?
How dare she know anyone before she met me? But she writes a little note. Like they do this thing, and I have to remind you guys. I don't know if you remember, but like they do this thing because it's like around texting where they write in their notepad and then they like point at like the words on the notepad, like, and they talk across the room.
Yeah.
And she writes, "Do you want to make out during lunch?"
And 5 guys respond, yes.
Peter just leaves.
Oh.
Like he puts on his Spider-Man costume. And he stands on the roof, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
You're also acting like a beacon that Spider-Man goes to this school.
Right. He's just like, so, did you date Harry before me? And she's like, what? Yeah, like for like a hot minute. Why? And he's like, why did you tell me? Why were you lying to me? And she's like, I didn't think it was a really big deal. And he's like, well, it is a big deal. And she's like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing your Spider-Man costume? Why are you yelling at me?
What is this?
And so he just freaks out how he's like, it's not really about Harry, but it is. And it's like, he's just so concerned because he's like, one day you are going to die because you just won't listen to me, or because you just, because the world hates me and wants to punish me.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cringy.
Yeah. And so,
Well, he's lost, a couple people.
he's lost a
close
couple
to
people.
him.
And like, what they'll explain in a flashback is he became Spider-Man 9 months ago.
That's it?
Yeah.
A lot has happened to him in 9 months.
Yeah.
Yes. He's had 2 major deaths in his life. One of them would be enough. 9 months after Uncle Ben died, yeah, he'd still be upset.
Yeah.
So like, and Bendis remembers that.
I've only
and-
been a superhero for 9 months. I don't know what's going on.
No.
And I've saved the world how many times?
right. Well,
He's-
never.
He's saved
He's only
like,
saved like parts of New York and like his school, kind of.
Yeah, but in his mind, it's the world.
That's true. Yeah, he saved his world.
his
a couple
world.
times.
Yeah.
But he's just he's a wreck. And he's like, if you don't tell me these important things, I can't like protect you or help you. And,
Right.
Like
Because sometimes the guy you dated is a psycho killer, and I would need to know that
or his
information.
dad is a goblin. Like we never know these things. And like
Hang on, back up. He's a goblin?
well, you know that. You knew that Norman Osborn was a goblin, and like after the whole business with Norman Osborn happened 2 or 3 times, you might say like, by the way, I hooked up with Harry.
Right. I mean, yes.
So
I'm going to need a list of all your known associates and prior liasons.
please.
Okay, but he wasn't a goblin at the time when I made out with Harry.
Peter doesn't think he's a goblin at all. But he just says to himself, I should have never told you who I was, and then left.
Oh, wow.
Mary Jane gets off the roof, and she gets met by Harry immediately. And Harry's like, hey, where's Peter? And she's like, I don't know, he left. And he goes, listen, we need to talk. And she goes, oh, is it about how you told Peter that we went out? And he's like, oh, what? No. And she's like, oh, because Peter says you did. He goes, oh, no, I mean, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I get so confused with these mind games you play with me. You asked me a straightforward question. I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. I just get flustered. And he's like, well, I mean, like, you know, I was talking to Peter. We talked about a couple things. I like made a joke about it. And she's like, a joke?
Is that what I have to you?
No. No, she has a great reaction, which I appreciate. But she's like, a joke? Like, how was it a joke? Explain the joke to me. Tell me what the joke was specifically.
Yeah. What were the exact words?
What were the exact words that made it a joke about how you were dating me?
That's awesome.
And he's like, listen, like, it doesn't matter. Like, moving on.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And, yeah. And he's like, listen, like, you know, the Peter Parker that we knew is not the same Peter Parker that we're dealing with now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. And she's like, no, he's better. And he's like, no, he's not. He's like scary. When he puts on that costume, like he goes crazy and like, no, forget it. And she's like, leave me alone. Like, don't get into it.
Right.
And that's another thing that happens a couple times is that like dudes will try to tell Mary Jane that Peter is no good. She is having none of it.
Right.
He doesn't tell you everything. And she's like, no, he does. And he's like, well, did he tell you that he killed my dad?
Does the world not know what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, Fury has managed to keep the Norman Osborn Goblin connection a secret.
Okay.
They know about the Goblin.
So they
don't
know there
about-
was a goblin.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't hide that.
Right.
He attacked the White House.
He was on the White House lawn. I think there might have been some cameras.
S.H.I.E.L.D. was on the scene.
Ah.
So any cameras like that might have been pointing at Spider-Man, who had no mask on at the time.
Oh, right.
Conveniently didn't work.
Right.
But when Fury like landed, there's like a media blackout.
Right.
So like any conversations or you know powering down that might reveal a goblin is like happens to be Norman Osborn were not conveniently caught.
Right.
But basically, you know, he's like, listen, like my dad was a goblin and he tried to kill people.
I mean, like a literal goblin,
Yeah.
not like
a metaphorical jerk.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh, so Harry's telling him.
Yeah. Well, but like she knew that. She's like, I know that. And he's like, yeah. Well, but Peter did what he had to do, but he did kill my dad. And she's like, okay, like Peter is not a murderer. Like Peter would never kill your dad. And he goes, Spider-Man would kill it. See, that's the thing. Is that like Peter Parker, the guy we knew, he's not the same person. Now he's Spider-Man. He puts on that costume and he goes crazy and just like attacks people. And like he's a different person.
But Spider-Man's never killed anyone. Like, why would she? Like...
No, but the news and the police think that he did. Remember, there was that whole like not chameleon situation, but like there was an imposter Spider-Man.
Yep.
Right.
And the police are still trying to shoot Spider-Man on sight because of the death of Captain Stacy.
Right.
Even though it's been proven that there was an imposter Spider-Man. There's a mugging or a carjacking. Spider-Man swings into action. He is freaking out because of Mary Jane, and he takes his aggression out on these thugs.
Oh, boy.
And he like lays out this one dude, and he's not moving. And one of the passerby is just like, oh my God. Peter's like, he just freaks out, grabs the kid.
Oh my God, he's dead!
Yeah, he's not dead, but he is like out.
Okay.
So Peter takes him and he swings to the hospital and he brings him in, and then he just sits there and waits. And he called the police, and when the police arrive, they send a police captain named Gene DeWolf.
Hey!
Gene DeWolf, ultimate Gene DeWolf,
no,
yay!
Whatever happened to
though.
Oh no! Well, at this point, because remember, Ultimate Gwen, yay, maybe she won't die.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking, like, no, she's inevitably going to die.
Right.
It'll just be different, and I won't see it coming.
You sound disappointed. At this point, Bendis is like, okay, I can do anything with these characters. I might introduce Moon Knight. So Jean is going to be it's a very, you'll see. Yep. So Jean shows up and she's like, hey, did somebody call the police? Talking to Spider-Man. And he's like, yeah, I'm giving myself up. I'm out of control.
Have you thought about joining the NYPD?
You can have sex in the back of the car. She's an adult and a policeman, and she's just like, well, so what do you want me to do? You want me to put you under arrest? You want to go into general population with your Spider-Man mask on? Like, what is this? And he's like, I'm a wanted felon. Like, people want to arrest me and shoot me on sight for murder. And she's like, but it's all bullshit, isn't it? And he's like, but I'm uncontrolled. Like, I hurt somebody. She's like, it's gonna happen.
You're gonna lose a few.
Yeah. She's like, listen, like, don't waste my time with this shit. And like, wash your costume. You smell like hot dogs.
Wow. That's an insane conversation to have with a police officer.
Yeah, well, that's Captain Jean DeWolf. Like, she's a little more open to the idea of Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah.
She's like, I know what you do.
Yes.
Like, it really helps us out.
Exactly.
I'm
There's
kind of
super
like
villains. I don't want to deal with them.
I don't want to deal with that.
Kind of like someone you may have read in a comic book, like Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, I could be your Gordon. She just leaves him there. She does go like, listen, when you're not like crying, here's my number. If you actually like need to talk to me about something serious, give me a call.
Right.
Not crying.
Yeah, how can you tell? Because you have big circles of water under your face. But
You sound like you're congested.
exactly. So Peter comes home. He's just like a wreck because he had a really weird day. And Aunt May is like, hey, Mary Jane came by looking for you. And he's like, oh. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, what'd she say?
Doesn't she still live next door?
She lives like in the neighborhood, like down the street. But he's like, what'd she say? And Aunt May's like, she said that like you had a fight and that it was her fault. And he's like, kinda, maybe.
Aunt May tells him to fix it because she's the best thing that'll ever happen to him, right?
No, Aunt May has
Like,
nothing.
well, if you try just getting over it.
So she goes, oh, and Harry Osborn called. And he's like, oh. And she goes,
God.
I don't like the Osborns. Osborns are trouble. So then the phone
you have
rings.
no idea.
Yeah, you have no idea, Aunt May. You are very perceptive, and yet you still don't know I'm Spider-Man. So the phone rings. She answers it. She's like, oh, he's right here. She gives Peter the phone. It's Harry, and Harry goes, it's time. And Peter goes, Aunt May, I'm going to have to go back out. And that's how the issue ends. And then we
She's
cut...
like, you're not going back
what?
out.
Literally
You're gonna have
that.
And do what?
No, it's like, she's like, it's late. No, you can't go out. Like, I love when Bendis does this because Bendis went to like the J.K. Rowling School of Comic Book Writing where every single last page has to be an oh my god cliffhanger.
Yep.
There's one way later where Nick Fury says to Spider-Man, and it's a full page. It's usually a full page. Later on, Bendis is going to be very guilty of this. Where it's going to be a full page panel.
Like close up on someone's face?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just Spider-Man's face drawn, I guess, in shock. It's a mask, but like, you know, the indication's there. The eyes are a little wider.
Yeah.
And Nick Fury says, your father may have started the next world war. And Spider-Man's like, what? And then the next issue, he's like, really? And Nick's like, not really. And I'm like, oh my god.
God damn it.
And they're like, what?
No, I know I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm very aware of it, but I did sell the next issue.
Right. I'm a big fan of like pulp stories from
Yeah.
like the 1920s.
Or it's just like, just one-upping the
like,
last bit.
Well, here's the thing.
No.
And then by the time you're there, boom.
When you get the trade, it's going to seem like a trick. But when you're reading that issue, you're going to be like, what?
Exactly.
I have to buy next week's issue.
That's it. Yes. Yes.
Yep. And when they're separated by a week, it makes sense. When you're reading it in one sitting, it kind of falls apart.
Yeah, but when you get fooled like 37 out of those 75 times,
Right.
You can't get fooled
think
again.
you learn.
We get a flashback to show Harry going to the cellar door thing, and like Shaw shows him all the goblin stuff, and
Right. Goblin paraphernalia.
yeah, and he's like, we need to find your father, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. He must know where your father's being held. So I need you to put pressure on him. You need to go back to school. You got to be buddy with them, and then like and use him to get information about where your father is.
I got a better idea, Shaw. You're fired.
And he goes like, well, I mean, like, I don't know if I want my dad back here. He's kind of a psychopath. Like, Nick Fury said he killed my mom, and he's like, well, he didn't. Nick Fury's a liar. No, forget it.
Okay, what about all those memories that were suddenly unlocked? Don't you remember that your dad killed your mom?
Well, what happened was when Harry got to the Goblin room, he like started freaking out. So Shaw said cellar door, knocked him back out, and he's like, Jesus, you are not your father. And then brought him back to his apartment to give him another spiel. He's like, let me just try again. Every time you say cellar door, you can just knock him out and repress his memories again.
Okay. Okay, so right now he is
So
back
He's
to
back
repressed.
to being repressed Harry.
So when Harry's like 50 and married, and he's like, honey, where do we keep those spare sheets?
Oh, behind the cellar door.
Oh my God!
So Mary Jane and Peter meet on the bleachers. There's another like awkward moment in class, doesn't matter. But like they're on the bleachers and they're having lunch or whatever. They're sitting there, and Mary Jane's
Having
like, "We
lunch.
need to talk." No, they're really talking. And she's just like, "Listen, like Harry and I talked, and like I know that he told you that we were dating. That's not only was that like stupid, and I should have told you, and I'm really sorry about that. But like,
But it's
you know,
almost a lie.
it's practical. Like we made out a couple times. Like it's not a really big deal. But like he
I
also
guess maybe to him it was. I
Right.
don't know.
yeah, he really took it like too seriously. But
But if you ever make out with that black cat, I'm going to be really upset.
next one.
Oh!
Harry also told me like what happened with his father. And he's like, oh. She's like, yeah, and I know that you did the right thing. And he's like, what? She's like, you killed him. But like it was self-defense. You're like, you didn't mean to kill him. And he's like, what? And she's like, it's okay, you could tell me. And he goes, he's not dead. And she's like, what? And he's like, Harry told you that I killed his father? And she's like, yeah, but like, he's the Green Goblin, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, but I didn't. He was arrested by Nick Fury. He's like in a bunker somewhere. And she's like, why would Harry lie about that? That's weird. And he's like, that's weird! Because he's crazy! Because on the White House lawn he said he was gonna friggin' kill all of us. That's why. Like, because you never just listen or pay attention or do the critical thinking necessary to be a supporting character in the Spider-Man comic.
She's like, well, you're yelling at me again. I'm leaving.
No, he runs away.
Oh.
So Harry did not go to school that day, and
Yeah.
he's just sitting on the couch, like watching TV, and
So he's watching Alien vs. Predator
yes, he
in
is.
their universe.
He totally is. And Shaw's like, what are you doing? He's like, I didn't feel like going to school. He's like, you need to go to school and hatch our nefarious scheme
my
to
God.
annoy Peter Parker to telling you where Norman Osborn is. And then Spider-Man shows up, and he's just on the ceiling, and he's like, Harry? And Harry's like, what? And Spider-Man's like, who are you talking to, pal?
Oh no.
Oh no, indeed. Shaw is a
Oh.
figment of Harry's imagination. He's a post-hypnotic suggestion personality put in there by the cellar door protocol.
That can trigger the hypnosis?
can trigger the
It
hypnosis.
can trigger itself? I don't understand.
It
What?
can trigger itself.
By triggering it, it should disappear.
I agree.
Okay.
Anyway,
That's very confusing.
So, you know, Spider-Man's like, Harry, we got to figure this out, man, because like I can't live like this. Like, but what are you doing? but apparently I'm not the only one in the room talking.
You let me know when they're done, and I'll keep talking.
Yeah. So, you know, Shaw tells Harry, you know, you got to show him who you really are.
Wait, so
Jesus.
Harry drove himself to New Jersey?
Yeah.
And didn't know where he was going?
Yeah.
Yep. But he did subconsciously.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Thankfully, we don't waste pages showing
Like him
an
in the
empty
car,
panel
like
of him being like, "Derp."
talking to somebody who's not there.
No. Harry was at the accident. And of course, I think we knew that already, which is why it's like, what? But what we also reveal is that, like, in the accident that exploded, that, like, basically created Norman Osborn as the Green Goblin and made Dr. Octopus into Dr. Octopus, Harry was affected by the Oz formula as well. And so he himself yells cellar door, and he becomes the Hobgoblin.
I was going to say, there is going to be a Hobgoblin in this Hobgoblin
Last
story.
issue.
Okay.
Hobgoblin. Because we can't sell Mary Jane and Peter have an awkward conversation for like most of the book.
Right.
That's not the cover.
So this Hobgoblin is just not Hobgoblin.
Nope.
It's just not in any, except he's orange. It's
He's
the only way in
Only
which this is
correlation.
Hobgoblin.
And he's a goblin.
And he's a
He's
goblin.
an orange goblin.
Yeah,
Right,
but the
just like-
Hobgoblin wasn't a goblin. It was just a dude in a
Dude
goblin
in a
costume.
goblin costume. But like, isn't
Yeah,
that Green
the
Goblin?
Green Goblin was just a dude in a Green Goblin
Yeah,
costume.
I
He wasn't an
know.
actual
But
goblin.
he was also crazy and had like a formula that gave him augmented strength and like maybe like even a goblin personality. So
It's cleaner this way.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Here's a question. How come Harry never turned into the Hobgoblin before this?
Because he was never activated. Shaw was like, you gotta tell him, you gotta tell him everything and show him who you are, and then Harry like activates it. Like when Harry yelled,
he was
like,
pushed far enough.
Because Shaw kept saying cellar door, but Harry never said it.
Wow.
But Harry has said it, even though Harry was definitely saying it because like Shaw's not real.
How else would he get into the basement or anything?
Exactly.
Well, he was saying it in his head.
Yeah.
So he didn't speak the words aloud.
Right, but when you speak the words loud, it's like a fucking magic spell.
Exactly.
He's like Shazam.
Yeah.
I kind of figured that like Fury would keep him under watch.
Yes.
And the second that he turns into the Hobgoblin, like just shield agents storm the building.
Yes. Except no. That they did think of that, but not fast enough. Because, you know, Hobgoblin's out, and then Spider-Man and Hobgoblin have a big fight across the city. And he's just, you know, he's just a mindless monster. So things are getting destroyed, but he's not attacking people.
Right. Okay.
And so Spider-Man's just trying to subdue him.
So
And,
it's like an Incredible Hulk fight.
Exactly. But a little more focused, because, you know, Hobgoblin's like, bah. And Shaw's still in his head like, get him.
Okay.
So Mary Jane, of course, she went to Harry's and
Son of a...
so she sees the carnage. So she fought not carnage though, the carnage that's happening.
The actual carnage.
Yeah.
And instead of going home or
Nope,
getting the police...
She follows the fight, and then he's like, "What's going on here?" And Spider-Man's like, "Oh my God!" And he grabs her and he swings her away.
Peter, what's going on?
Literally that. And he puts her on her roof and he's like, "What are you doing here?" I came to confront Harry about all those things, and he's like, I told you to stay away from him, and you went to his house. And he just shoves a door. He doesn't have time to open it. He just literally pushes the door in, like, backwards, and just goes, "Go away!" And then, Hobgoblin is there, and so he's like, "Nope, you're not gonna attack Mary Jane." He attacks the Hobgoblin, and he just like takes out all his aggression on Hobgoblin. He's just beating the shit out of him. And then
It's finally someone I could just punch with reckless abandon.
Right.
Thankfully, I needed this excuse.
I tried to hold him back.
And I guess like he was winded, so he takes a second not to do that. And when he has that minute, Hobgoblin's like, "Do it.
Oh.
Kill me."
Oh, God.
Pete's like, "Listen, like Harry, we're gonna figure this out. Come on." And then he reaches out his hand. Hobgoblin takes it, but then of course like flips it around on him and attacks him.
Yeah.
And the police are there and they're shooting everybody. So while that's going, tons of cars are being destroyed. Cops are involved now.
Yep.
Yes, wanton destruction in
Yeah,
New York.
exactly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at the Triskelion, which is like blocks away, Nick Fury's being interviewed on TV. And they're asking him, I love it because there's a great moment where like the news reporter is like, "So Nick, wouldn't you say that having superpowered people on like a task force like the Ultimates asks for like a proportionate response from the criminal underworld, like that superheroes create super crime?" And he's like, "That might be the dumbest question I have ever heard in my life." And I love
Like,
that.
I don't subscribe to that theory. That doesn't make any friggin' sense.
And I love it because like that is so what like every like high schooler who is looking to like undercut comic books say. They're like, "Wouldn't you say that like if there weren't a Batman, that there wouldn't be a Joker?" And it's like, no.
Well, the Joker has said things along those lines before,
it's
so like it's not totally made up.
No, and Batman does knock him into the vat, but like, yeah, well, how do you account for Poison Ivy then?
Yeah, well, what about all the rest of them?
Yeah, what about the Joker? What about literally all of them?
No, you dress up like a bat. You take the
law in your own hands.
Yeah, and then it's just off to the races.
Off to the races.
They all just
They
come
all
out of the
put on
woodwork.
costumes.
Now everyone
just-
can be like, "Sweet, I can finally be me.
Yeah.
I'm the Penguin."
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reporter gets a call, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to cut this short. There's some shit going on." He's like, "You're bumping me? I'm Nick fucking Fury." And then they get
You should
reports.
just be able to snap, and they're just like put into a prison cell.
right? There's a big goblin. There's a Spider-Man, and he's like, "But Norman's away." Oh man.
Can't believe I didn't test Harry.
And he's like, call the agent that is the SHIELD agent that was assigned to follow Harry around. And we see he is fucking dead. And they're like, and like Fury's talking to one of his agents, and he's like, "You said you tested Osborn's blood for any anomalies." He's like, "We did. We saw it all. There's no way the monster that Spider-Man's fighting in Midtown is Harry Osborn." He's like, "Would you like to bet your job?"
You're right.
No.
He's an unrelated goblin, sure.
That's literally it. He's like, "It's an unrelated goblin." He's like, "There's no way it is." So they put on their awesome like
You don't understand,
shield
Nick. This
suits.
one's orange. It's completely different.
That's like a hobgoblin. We're talking about green goblins.
See, they're not even related. They're in different goblin categories.
Yeah,
Green
it's a
and
different
hob.
species
Yeah.
of goblin.
Yeah. It's a subspecies. So Fury himself and like a crack team of SHIELD agents put on like exo armor and go to fight the Hobgoblin.
Looks so stupid
I
in
know.
that panel.
I hate goblins in the Ultimate Universe. They look dumb. They look like little like abominations.
Yep. Ugh.
So the SHIELD team shows up and they like just start shooting at Hobgoblin, and Spider-Man's like, "Stop! He's a kid.
Right.
He's literally a 16-year-old boy. Like, leave him alone." And
Hey,
so-
in some states, we can try him.
that's right.
16-year-old goblin.
So Spider-Man's like trying to stop Harry. He's like, "Stop! They're gonna kill you." And the situation just goes from bad to worse.
Right.
The SHIELD agents all just like just
Unload on.
unload on Harry and knock him down. And he's like, "Come on, kill me!" I'm here to do it.
Oh God.
And so they shoot him until he like de-goblinifies and
Right.
seemingly dies, but he doesn't. Don't worry, like no one dies in the Ultimate Universe.
Except for Peter's
Except for
friends and
innocent
family.
people.
Yeah, except for like everybody. But Harry seemingly dies, and like he doesn't. I'm not gonna like hide it. But
Right.
you know, Fury's like, okay, like let's do this, and Peter's like, why did this happen? Fury, explain this to me. He's like, why is the sky blue, kid? I don't know. You know, people sometimes turn into goblins. What do you want from me? His dad's an asshole.
Look,
we did everything we could.
we tested him and stuff,
Right.
and he didn't look like a goblin.
It wasn't an
so-
oversight. Like we didn't
yeah.
screw up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The book's called Hobgoblin. There needed to be a Hobgoblin
He
in
had
the
to
book.
show up at some point.
He could have just been a different person, but no.
Yeah, and like Spider-Man just can't deal.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, why is he begging me to kill him? Like
He's your friend. I don't know.
right. He's just screaming at him, and
I don't know. Did you steal his girlfriend or something?
yeah. I love like Fury being totally reasonable in this, where he's just like he just ignores Peter, and he's like, all right, guys, like let's coordinate with the local police. Like we're not gonna hide anything. We're not gonna do our usual routine.
Right.
And then Spider-Man just punches him so hard his eye patch flies off.
Oh.
And then everyone just starts shooting at Spider-Man. Nick Fury calls the Sea Spire, and he's like, go home. So Spider-Man goes home, and he turns
You are grounded.
he turns to his team, and he goes, I would like the secret of the Oz formula cracked by my birthday. And
No one knows when that is. You're Nick Fury.
yeah, it's a big secret. As we know, though, in the Ultimate Universe, nothing's a secret.
It could be any day though, so do it by tomorrow.
That's right. And he goes, and I think it's time for Peter Parker to lose those Spider-Man powers.
No. He
What?
gets punched once, and he's just like, oh, that's it.
That's it. Later on, who knows if we'll ever get to it, because if this episode tanks, we won't. But like, there's a moment later on where, oh no, it gets much worse. When Fury gets punched, he thinks like, shit, I created a supervillain.
What?
Because
He gets punched one time.
well, because he,
Oh, that guy's a supervillain. He punched me in the face. I'm Nick Fury. You don't punch Nick Fury in the face
I
unless
think
you're a
it's
bad
because
guy.
I think it's because Nick Fury has met like because everyone, super or otherwise, in Nick Fury's life is an asshole.
Well, they also probably have a breaking point, and he's just like, I just broke this kid.
This is it.
Yep.
This is it.
Even
I
though
guess
his
I
friend's
should
not
just, like,
dead.
listen to him for a second.
That's right. No, I won't.
I've seen a lot of people turn into supervillains, and I see where this is going.
That's right.
This is how it starts.
Exactly.
1 minute you're yelling
He
at me, then you're punching me.
and then you're trying to take over the world. No. Mary Jane is waiting for Peter at his house, and they have a conversation.
An actual conversation this time?
Yes.
Okay.
Does he scream at her at any point?
He does not scream at her.
Oh, that's good.
Instead, he's like, you can't be in my life, it's over.
So how many times have they broken up?
I think like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
9-month period.
Yep.
That breaks like my record.
So what's his reasoning? Like,
His
you're going to
reasoning
turn
is-
into a goblin?
His
or
reasoning
something?
is basically like, I can't have you in my life. Like, I can't have you in Spider-Man's life because I'm never going to stop being Spider-Man, and you are always going to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
Like, you are never going to stop. But if we're broken up, you'll have like new friends and new boyfriends, and you'll have a different life.
Right.
You'll go away.
You won't keep showing up in the middle of a fight with a goblin.
So they're going to break up. She's going to have a new beau.
Right.
And they're going to somehow be involved and be a superhero or a supervillain, and they're still going to do it.
I
like,
promise.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. It would
by
happen.
this logic.
Yeah, Peter, what you don't know is you're in a comic book. That's never going to happen. You might as well get laid. But they break up.
Yeah.
You know, he breaks up with her. She hugs him. He lets her. She thinks, oh, and he didn't mean it. Then he
But
breaks
he's
the,
like,
the hug.
no, but go away.
Yeah, and then he
That was a friend hug.
Yeah.
And then he runs away. Then he's
runs
like,
away.
wait, I was home. Where am
live
I
here.
going?
You need to run away.
Please run. Please run now.
Please run away. So then we get like an extra issue, which I really enjoy because it's no superheroics whatsoever. It's only dialogue.
Yeah.
Mary Jane is in the bathroom at school, and she is crying her eyes out. And her friend Liz Allen is like, Peter Parker sucks. Don't cry over Peter. We see like their
He's
lives.
a nerd.
He's a nerd. He's a dweeb. He's a total geek. But we see the DVD scene where the teacher's just like, all you had to do,
All you had to do.
watch a DVD. You can't do it.
How does he know they didn't watch it?
I don't know. Right?
It's like, I gave you one
I
task,
guess because
and I assume you didn't do it.
My guess is
What's
he
wrong with
called
you?
on anybody
Right, to answer a question,
one question
about
they
what was
didn't
on the
know,
DVD.
and
Or
he's
there
like-
was a quiz, like, watch this. I'm just going to
Yeah.
quiz you on it tomorrow.
Yep, exactly. Nobody answered it right.
Well,
He's
you
like,
gave me a bullshit assignment.
Yeah,
I
so I'm gonna
took
give you
it
bullshit work.
as a yeah.
Exactly.
What do you want from me?
Yeah.
I can tell when you're not trying.
Right?
I watched a DVD last night. It was called, like, Predator.
Yeah, I watched a dope DVD.
I can answer many questions about that.
You give me a lame DVD about, like, chlorophyll or something. So,
More like Borophyll, right?
exactly. No, I will not make out with you. You'll get killed by a hobgoblin.
I like
anyway.
this mesh.
So Mary Jane goes to the mall because she wants to be alone.
Yeah,
And,
no, of course.
Of course.
well,
In a
Liz,
sea of people.
well, that sometimes.
She wants to be anonymous.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I like that. I do that too sometimes. Except the last place you want to go if you want to actually be around people is the mall.
Yeah, because
like,
you'll run into everyone.
no, because no one's there.
Yeah, nowadays.
Because the mall is fucking empty
Currently.
for the last like 5 years.
Yep.
And so Liz and Mary Jane are hanging out, and they get bumped into by Flash Thompson, who's a piece of shit. And he's on the basketball team, and he goes over there and he's like, "Listen, I heard you and Peter Parker broke up because like we're at a school,
Yeah.
and my like friend who's a senior thinks you are smoking hot and wants to go out with you." And Liz is like, "Well, leave her alone, you know." And then
They broke up yesterday.
right. And the dude shows up and he's like, "Hey man, what's up? Like, listen, Flash, you're not cool. That was not cool of you. I said that to you in confidence. Go away." So he like makes Flash go away and he puts on the charm. Because it's a senior trying to sleep with a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And he does things that I guess a 15-year-old might think are really cool. Like he goes, "Would you care for a fry?" A waiter. And he takes Kenny's fries away from him and then offers her his fries.
Yeah.
And eats them himself. And they basically have this like whole conversation about how like
Oh, it's fine because I'm a senior. I
Right.
can do these things.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
right.
Giant towering
Yeah, you
man who
big
can
huge man
destroy
boy.
me.
But he basically says like, "Listen, like I suck. Peter sucks because guys suck. Guys are the worst." She's like, "Oh, you heard?" He's like, "Yes. The secret is we pretend we don't know that we suck, but we do. But I just got a memo that we're all going to stop sucking in the near future." And she's like, "Okay." And she has a fry because I guess that's charming. And he's just so cute.
Right.
Oh yeah.
He's got a leather jacket. He's got long hair. He's got a guitar.
He's dream. Oh, perfect.
God damn.
This guy's gonna go far in life.
He's in a band, and his band's playing tonight. And you should come.
Oh.
yeah,
so
where are they
I bet
playing?
it is.
Yeah.
So he planned the whole thing with Flash?
Oh yeah. There's
Yeah.
no
Of course
way.
he did.
Obviously, yeah.
I mean, like, I think Bendis was like, no, he's cool.
Yeah.
Flash.
No, Flash, he really did just say that
really
he
just
liked
did that.
redheads, not Mary Jane specifically, and he didn't tell Flash to go over there and,
like take one for the team.
yeah,
like,
so
no,
that
no,
he could then show up and act like
he's totally
Flash is a douchebag. Yeah,
right.
nah.
No. So they go to the concert. They sing about Molten Man because like Bendis is like, "I'm never gonna do Molten Man, so let's make him a lyric in a song."
Oh, that's an
That's
actual
Ultimate
character.
Molten Man?
Yeah, Ultimate
It's
Molten
the
Man.
lyric in the song.
The dude's there, playing the guitar. Mary Jane, Liz Allen,
Oh,
Kenny
he
are
actually
there.
plays the guitar. He's not holding this around for like a prop.
No, it's not
No,
like
no,
empty.
he's
It's
like
full of
a-
crackers. No. And
What's in
he's-
there? Condoms.
But no, he actually can play. And Mary Jane's just kind of like standing there, like everyone's moshing.
Yeah.
The sexy dude offers Mary Jane a ride home. Mary Jane accepts it. They drive, and they have another conversation. And the conversation is basically them sharing their interests. And this dude is like, "Have you ever heard of a man named Will Eisner?" And they have a conversation that no one
What?
in the history of humanity has or will ever have.
All
Where
I'm
this-
saying is I have deep respect for that man.
and the comic book medium.
I think it's a really important conversation to
This
have.
17-year-old dude who plays the guitar in a punk rock band circa 2001 is a big fan of Will fucking Eisner and the evolution of the graphic novel. And that he thinks this will get him laid. No.
But it will get me an Eisner.
Son of a bitch. But he basically says, and by the way, he doesn't even want to make a comic book. He's just like, the journey, the creation, his influence. I want my music to have that kind of effect. Yeah, I want...
Said no musician
No
ever.
musician in the history of humanity. And she's like, that's cool. And he goes, what do you want to do? And she's like, oh, I thought I wanted to go into acting. He's like, that's cool. And then she goes, but I realized I hate every movie I've ever seen. And I'm like, that's another thing. She's like, oh, no one's ever said that? Well, no one's ever said this. I hate every movie
Every
and
single
TV show I've
movie.
ever seen in my life.
Wow.
So why do you want to be an actor?
No, and then she's like,
I guess I don't.
I don't want to be an actor. She became such a teenager that she like turned inside out. Like, I am so against the grain. I don't like. No. You don't like the mainstream. You like niche. I don't even like anything. I hate everything that has ever existed.
Show me any popular movie, any
No,
non-popular
look,
movie.
Not just movies and TV, not just movie pictures, still ones as well. Paintings,
that
sculpture.
didn't happen.
I burnt down a museum last year because it was all disgusting.
Yeah.
All works of human creativity.
Disgust me. I am against. Pass.
You sound like a supervillain.
Yeah. That's insane.
That's messed up.
Now I get why Peter broke up with you.
This dude should be like, all right, you can get out of the car now.
Get the hell out. You mean to tell me you don't even like one of the Indiana Jones movies? Not one? Get out.
I like Crystal Skull.
So she says, like, but I do admire teachers and I want to be one someday. Don't worry. Bendis will forget he wrote that and immediately abandon it.
Oh, okay.
But
That's a weird thing to write and then forget
never
about.
pay off again. But then she says, like, I don't think I've ever told anyone that.
That's because you never had that thought before until right this second.
now.
And that's why you won't want to be a teacher when it ever comes up again.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe
It was a
maybe that's
fleeting moment.
Maybe that's a thing. She's like doing she's like putting him on.
Yeah.
Saying what she thinks he would think is cool.
Right. But yeah, so she's just like, anyway, they make out.
Yeah.
Well, they kiss for a half second. And then she stops him and he goes, well, the legend of Peter Parker. And then drives her home and he's basically like, so why'd you break up? Since we're subtextually talking about Peter Parker anyway, let's just overtly talk about him. Why'd you break up? And she's like, I need to grow up. I need to like get my shit together because I don't deserve his love, but I will earn it. And he's like, that is fucking weird.
You are a
Don't say that.
15-year-old girl.
Yes. And this is where Sal loses the book, where I'm like,
Well, the book loses sound.
I don't like this. Because she really like it's supposed to be kind of like sweet and cathartic, where she realizes she's coming to her own. She's like, I need to, like, this is a grown up world, and I got to grow up fast, and I am not thinking before I leap. And
I mean, that is all true.
It is all true, but like
based
you're
on
a
the events,
15-year-old
sure.
girl, like you shouldn't have to worry about those things. Take the pass. Don't go out with Peter Parker. Be a child.
Right.
For like a hot second.
Yeah.
Make
Be in
out
high
with
school.
Make out with that kid with the. He plays the guitar. Like I'm
What
two
are
panels
you
away from
doing?
making out with him. Come on. So, he goes. But she's like, oh, like I'm gonna change everything I am to be worthy of Peter Parker's love. And he goes, what is so special about Peter Parker? And they end the book with her going, everything.
Thank God she doesn't go, he's Spider-Man.
He's Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she might as well.
It's like, oh no, stupid. See, that's what I gotta
see?
stop doing.
It's
I
one of
gotta
those
grow
things.
up and not like
You know what?
say shit.
I gotta kill you. I gotta grow
That's
up.
what a grown up would do.
That's what I've learned from all the grown-ups in my life.
Peter! It drives me crazy because I'm like,
So
no.
we really never see him again?
We never see him again, and
wow.
she never dates anyone else ever in her life.
Oh, that's sad.
Yes.
Even after he dies?
Yes.
Oh no.
Oh no. Bothers me so much.
I was 15. I was in a relationship for 9 months.
You made out with Harry Osborn one time, and then you were with Peter, and that's it. Now listen, I appreciate monogamy, and I appreciate the idea of like, when you know it, and that's the one. But you are 15, you don't know.
Right.
I'm sorry, 15, 14, 13-year-olds out there, you don't know.
It's not the end of your life.
Okay to date people. Please don't be like Mary Jane and be like, this one guy is it for me. It's not.
I mean, to be fair, most people will never date Spider-Man.
Right.
Maybe
with
if you date Spider-Man, you're going to be like, no one's ever going to top that.
I'm going to
Probably no one will ever save my life many times.
right.
Remember,
that's a hard thing for me to get past.
He doesn't. You don't owe him undying loyalty. You're not a Wookiee.
remember half a month ago?
That's the origin of the Hobgoblin.
Oh,
That's
was
the origin
disappointing.
and the end of the Hobgoblin? Like when
No.
Harry comes back,
there's no
he's
way
fixed?
that's the end.
They think they fix him, but like one of the things that you will learn about the Oz formula is there is no fixing it.
Right.
But they can take Spider-Man's powers away.
They think
At least they think they can. We don't know if they actually can.
Well, we will have to get there. So
Oh.
We'll only
see.
get there if you get us to 200,000 subscribers.
in the next like 2 episodes. This one is much less interesting.
Oh.
I could probably summarize this one very quickly.
Screw it. We got time. Let's do it.
There's a gang war. Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin.
Stone tablet, that kind of thing.
The Stone Tablet.
Yeah.
Black Cat stole it. All that stuff. Hammerhead is introduced.
Shark Man.
No. In the Ultimate Universe and in the main universe, he was a mobster who got a adamantium plate in his head.
That's his origin?
That's it. You can't headshot Hammerhead because there's an adamantium plate in there.
What if you
The
hit
whole
it from the
head
back?
or
I
Just
think
the
it's,
top part.
it used to be a plate. I think it's the whole head.
right? Because they're like, it would be
It's-
way
I
too
think it's
easy
the
to kill him
skull.
if it was the top of his
Yeah.
head.
Okay, so I can't headshot him. So, like, a 13-year-old kid playing Codbo is going to be really upset.
Yes.
I can still shoot him in the rest of his body, though.
yeah.
Well, he could
Oh,
wear
yeah.
body armor. Maybe.
Yeah, he could. But in the main universe, he also uses that head as like a battering ram,
Right.
and as like a blunt force.
Yeah, an
attack.
intimidation technique. I'm going to
Yeah, and like
bash
rips
people's
his
faces
skin
in.
off and stuff because like that's what would happen if you like hit something
No,
really
it
hard with
doesn't.
your head. Oh yeah.
He's totally fine.
You know, it's funny because the skull is a good protector, but at the same time, you still are bashing your brain
brain around?
against
Well, that
the
too.
skull.
He should get concussed.
So he's going to
every
get
time.
concussed.
Absolutely should, but he doesn't. And that's the same case in the Ultimate Universe. We also introduced Silvermane. I believe he came up in another volume, but like Silvermane is another sinister mobster. He calls Hammerhead into his office. He's like, listen, like I've seen you trying to like, Hammerhead's whole thing is he's making a play for all the territories because Kingpin's gone
Right.
and Silvermane's old. So Silvermane's like, I see the writing on the wall. Hammerhead's making his moves, so he invites Hammerhead to his office. He's like, you and I are not so different.
Ugh.
Like, with my brains and your blunt force attacks with your stupid head, we could own this city. And so Hammerhead crushes his head
Oh,
with
Yeah,
his
it kills him.
hands.
with his hands?
yeah.
Not with his head?
Nope, with
He
his
should-
head.
He should
He should
headbutt
headbutt him. I know, he doesn't. He crushes him with his
What?
hands.
Oh, so
Nate-
he's like super
Silvermane's
strong too?
dead?
Yeah, he dies.
Wow.
What?
First two
Not
pages.
Silvermane.
I know. Well,
I was
Silvermane,
so invested.
Silvermane is either a Nick Spencer joke or an old Spider-Man villain. Either
Wait,
way.
no, Silvermane can't die. Peter Parker wasn't there in his life and got really close to him right beforehand, so he can't have
only
incredible
characters like
guilt
that can
about
die. No. But also, I think it parallels how Kingpin crushed some other guy's head.
Oh yeah.
And that's what got him arrested or ruined.
Yeah.
Anyway, that happens.
Yeah.
So now Hammerhead
Hammerhead's taken over.
He's taken over, and so he's making his play. Kingpin is like laying low. Vanessa never comes up, by the way. You know, they were going to get the tablet,
Yeah, yeah.
and bring her back, or maybe not. Who knows? Yeah, that doesn't come up again.
Oh.
Vanessa does come up again, but not in this issue.
I found new Vanessa.
Yeah. When I was a boy. So we show the scene where they had to watch a DVD, and Peter leaves to go to the bathroom, and he makes fun of the teacher. He then puts on his Spider-Man costume and leaves, and his internal thoughts are, why did I ever think that Spider-Man was the problem? Peter Parker is the problem. Whenever I'm Spider-Man, I'm fine.
Okay.
So he's going to abandon his Peter Parker life. Not wholesale. He's not like
Bye,
leaves
Aunt May.
Aunt May, goodbye. No, he's just gonna like kind of fuck off.
Yeah, he's going to drop out of school.
More or less. Like, he doesn't decide he's going to drop out of school, but he doesn't go to school anymore. And
Oh.
Aunt May is like, So,
So
Exactly.
he's just basically being Spider-Man as much as he can.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, without tipping off Aunt May.
Right. Oh, yeah, there's a scene where, Peter comes home, and Aunt May had, like, a wine class. That's what she calls it.
Okay.
Maybe it's a wine tasting. Maybe it's, like, maybe she's, like, making wine. I don't know.
Maybe she's making art while drinking wine.
Yeah. probably one of those.
Probably one of those, yeah.
But,
Or maybe she was just drinking wine.
it's my wine class. She goes
wine
in the
class.
attic and she just gets drunk. It's sloppy drunk in the attic.
The Ultimate Universe is dark, man.
It's a dark place. But Peter sees there's a message on the answering machine, and it's from the principal, and it's like, Peter left school today, like, in a huff, and, like, we were going to have a conference, and he just deletes the message. He's like, do you want Chinese or pizza, Aunt May? But Hammerhead burns one of the warehouses down that's owned by the previous administration. Also, Hammerhead, he's trying to occupy all of Kingpin's slots, so he hires the Enforcers, an old classic Spider-Man team that also showed up in the Kingpin arc. They were Kingpin's Enforcers.
Yeah, the whip guy, the little short
fancy
guy.
man.
Yeah.
The Ox,
Yeah.
So he's got the Enforcers as his Enforcers.
Oh, he's all set now.
That's right.
Yeah, they did such a great job.
Yeah, but they're augmented. Anyway, so he sets this warehouse on fire. Spider-Man shows up to investigate, and then Moon Knight attacks him. And Moon Knight's like, and Moon Knight's like, everywhere trouble is, you are. You must have set this fire. And Spider-Man's like, what the fuck?
I thought you were going to say Moon Knight was like, I saw you dressing up as Spider-Man, and I thought, escalation. Yeah. Now I'm going to dress up as a crazy character and do stuff. Like,
Am
you
I
started
inspired?
this.
No. He's an unconnected asshole.
At the same time, though, the police are after him.
Yeah.
So, like, all right, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. So we see a flashback that shows that Danny Rand, a.k.a. the Iron Fist, was arrested.
Are we going to go back?
Yeah, let's go back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Iron Fist was arrested in, like, kind of a Con Air situation where he used his Iron Fist in defense, but it was, like, proportionately too much compared to the attackers.
Oh, yeah.
So because he's the Iron Fist and he has it, he used it against normal people, and they're like, look, you can't use that.
Yeah.
You're a black belt Marine. You should have shown restraint.
Yeah, that's assault with
You're
a deadly
going to
weapon.
jail,
That's
Nicolas Cage.
That's right. So he's out on parole.
Cool.
And he goes to the old neighborhood. He meets up with Shang-Chi. And unfortunately, their neighborhood is also targeted for control by Hammerhead.
Oh, so they're going to have a run-in with the Hammerhead later.
That's right. So we're getting... It's just Hammerhead. Please be Hammerhead.
Mr. Head?
Hammer?
MC?
You can't call me Hammer. That's copyrighted.
He gets really upset.
That's right.
And I owe him $5.
And he'll collect. So Moon Knight's... Oh, you were...
Shuffling in.
Oh. We now owe him to say Hammer $5.
Damn it!
So, Moon Knight is...
Not that has anything to do with Moon Knight here.
No,
so we just cut to Iron Fist in the middle of Moon Knight and Spider-Man's confrontation.
That's
and
right.
we just cut back. There's no connection.
This is like Bendis' flashback period, where for the next 2 or 3 volumes, he will constantly go back for no reason and cut to things that don't even thematically or not thematically relevant or connect. But so Spider-Man fights Moon Knight, and Elektra's there, and she's working for the Kingpin.
And she's in the book,
and
she's going to cross.
So Daredevil's here too?
Moon Knight. No, Daredevil's not in this book. He does not appear.
Oh.
I think Bendis is like, I'm going to put Moon Knight, Iron Fist, and Shang-Chi in this book to make you wish Daredevil were in the book. Also Elektra. So Elektra's there, and she's just watching it happen. She's reporting back. She's like, Moon Knight and Spider-Man are fighting. I guess it's Spider-Man. It's a full body condom. I have no idea.
Right, it could be anybody.
Does
As we know, there's an impersonator.
Yeah, but that impersonator died.
No, he was arrested.
Was he arrested?
I think he was arrested. Only George Stacy died. But Moon Knight throws his moon batarangs at Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He webs them up,
Yeah.
and he collects them, and he goes, where do you get these things from? Do you make them, or do you order them special? And he goes, give them to me, they're mine. And Spider-Man goes, no, you threw them at me, and now they're mine. And Moon Knight goes, how old are you?
That's my property. You can't steal that.
I can't believe he says that.
How old are you? How old are you? You just said give them to me. They're mine.
They're mine. Those are mine. You threw them at me. You threw them at me, and now they're mine.
Okay, they're bickering.
I love seeing Moon Knight and Spider-Man interact. There's a moment later
Because Moon Knight's crazy, right?
He's a crazy asshole, stupid person, and it's so funny to see them interact. Because Spider-Man's like a kid. He's like, like at one point he says, you are wearing white as a superhero. You are filthy, head to toe. Look at you. What a stupid idea. So, they're fighting, and Elektra, she just reports that they're fighting.
To whom?
To the Kingpin.
Oh.
And he goes, hey, it just occurred to me, I can leave. And then he leaves. And
with the Moon Knight batarangs.
No, he just leaves them.
No, okay.
He's not a monster. he lets Moon Knight take those back. But
I mean, I was just, I was doing that teacher thing, like you threw it, now it's mine.
That's right,
It's going
yeah.
in the June drawer.
So
is Moon Knight gonna kill someone with them later, and Spider-Man could be all
No.
upset that he gave him back? So that he could
Oh,
kill
I was
someone
gonna say,
with them?
is Moon Knight gonna kill someone with them later, and then
The webs
Spider-Man's are gonna, the webs, the cloth prints are gonna be
test him,
on.
They'll find. Oh yeah.
oh no, none of that
Spider-Man
happens.
killed these people with these moons.
He's got a moon thing now, apparently.
Spider-Man's sidekick Moon Knight attacked these people. So the Daily Bugle writes about Moon Man cometh. That's the headline. Moon Man cometh, and J. Jonah Jameson's like cometh, and Robbie Robertson's like, it's Eugene O'Neill, the Iceman cometh. He's like, I had you write Moon Man terrorizes Big Apple, and he's like, he didn't terrorize anybody. He was at a burning building. That's all that happened.
Yeah, he just came. That's all that happened. He didn't-
Okay, you're
Right.
fired. You don't sell papers.
Right. So Ben Urich shows up and he's like, I did some digging and I found out that like the warehouse is owned by like 6 different companies that all trace back to Fisk. And so, Jameson's like, sweet, Evening Edition is going to be like Moon Man attacks Fisk's companies. Aha, we got an angle. And Peter's there and he's like, he was called Moon Knight. And they're like, what? And he's like, oh, some kids at school saw him and they said that they think his name was Moon Knight. And Jameson's like, well, Moon Man's hilarious, so I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I have a unconfirmed report from children that his real name is Moon Knight.
Yep.
And then I have
What I already wrote.
What I wrote on the paper, and you can physically see right there, has already been printed.
Go with Moon Man.
Is he called Spider Knight? No, he's Spider-Man.
Right.
This is Moon Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moon Man.
Stick
Everyone's
with
got a
the
theme.
Theme going.
Yeah.
America Man, Thor Man. So, anyway, Urich tries to get a quote from Fisk Industries. They offer him a quote. It's full of expletives. Peter is like pissed that Fisk is involved. He's like, Fisk, no, Era!
Right.
And he swings over to Fisk's like high rise.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, because he's freaking out.
Because he knows where he
Because
lives?
might be there.
No, he doesn't know why he's there. But when he gets there, Elektra's there waiting for him. She goes, Mr. Fisk would like to speak with you. And he's like, okay. Because his spider sense isn't going off.
Right.
You're hot, so I'm going to
Let's see
allow
where
this.
I'll allow this.
goes.
So they go, and they get in the elevator, and they're just standing there in the elevator. And he looks at her, and then he goes, what was your name again? And she goes, stop staring at them. What? No, the look on her
How
face.
could you tell? My eyes are obscured.
How could you say? How did you know? I do now.
I didn't until just
I'm
now.
not looking at your eyes. I'm looking lower on your costume.
Yeah, but the look on her face is just like, this dude is checking out my rack. So Fisk is having a pizza, and he offers Spider-Man a
So
slice.
he's there?
Yeah, it's his place.
I thought he was in hiding or whatever.
No. He's been like deflecting with like lawyers and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And he's been laying low.
I see.
And so they have a conversation. It's fun, Fisk illustrates like
Have
the
some
difference-
pizza. All right, I'll have some. Wait, I have to take off my mask for that.
He lifts up his mask.
You almost got.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, no, he lifts it up a little bit to eat. And Fisk makes a point of saying, this is the best in the city. I had a slice once and I bought the entire parlor.
Of course.
It's like, and he doesn't make a fat joke for some reason. But
Well, he's offering him pizza. That would be crude.
that's true. So he shows him, two headlines. One, Spider-Man Menace. One, Fisk bails out library. He's like, I'm a murderer. You're a superhero. Everyone hates you. They love me. And it's
funny.
And I love it because they have this conversation where Peter goes, oh man, here it comes. And Fisk goes, what? And he goes, you're about to tell me that you have this amazing philosophy to justify your horrible life. And he goes, so anyway, people don't want to be exceptional.
Yep, here we go. Okay.
Okay, I just want to know what I was getting into. Cool.
But he basically says, people don't want to be exceptional. They want to be told what to do by people like me, and they want a cookie at the end of the day for doing like the barest minimum. And when they see people like you, they know that they can be exceptional, but they choose not to be. And that's why they hate you. And that's why they bail out people like me. Anyway, so there's this guy named Hammerhead. I know where he lives. You should go there and kick his ass. And he's like, why would I do that? And he's like, because he's a bad guy. And you're a superhero who fights bad guys.
Isn't that what you do?
Isn't that what you do? And he's like, I don't work for you, man. He's like, but don't you though? Because
No.
Because you're going to have to fight Hammerhead at some point because he's taking over my interests and I can't get involved. So I can't be a criminal right now. So you have nothing on me, but he's a bad guy who's doing all the things that I would be doing if I were active. So you're going to have to go take care of him anyway. And here's his address. If I gave it to the police, they do something about it. I'm giving it to you. What are you going to do about it?
Well, he could give it to the police.
Which he does.
Ah,
Because
smart.
he has a phone number now.
Gene DeWolf.
Yeah. I love this illustration of what it's like to go to high school. We see 3 panels of Peter like sitting around people, like sitting in class, walking through hallways, going to lunch, and all these balloons, this cacophonous
Just
assortment
like
of balloons
conversations.
of just like bullshit, like
There's a lot of work was put into this.
yes, just to show you that like this is what high school's like. And then the next page is just him leaving and being Spider-Man. No.
Nice.
So he goes to Gene DeWolf's office. Police shoot at him. And then Gene meets with him and he's like, "What's this?"
Was that a Scarlet Witch?
It was. Bendis likes to do this every once in a while. Where he will throw a person in a main Marvel Universe superhero costume and put it on a regular person in the Ultimate Universe, and they're being arrested and carted away.
Yeah.
And
For being like a vigilante.
sometimes they'll say things that indicate what he's doing in the main universe.
Oh.
Like a little Easter egg that'll tell you what he's about to do.
Okay.
Anyway, she's yelling, "I'm not crazy."
Right.
But she is, because it's Scarlet Witch.
But she is crazy.
you see.
You see. Yeah.
So, haha. Anyway, so Peter tells Jean about it, Spider-Man. And she's just like, "Wilson Fisk gave you information." She's like, "Listen, I'd go get him if I were you."
Right.
I mean, like, a bad guy's a bad guy.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter where
That
the
sounds
info
like a
comes
line
from.
that Fisk would say.
Yeah.
Oh, he did say that to me.
And then she gets a call and she's like, "Oh, you gotta go." And he's like, "Why?" And she's like, "There's a disturbance downtown." And we see 7 minutes ago, what happened? Why is there a disturbance? Well, Hammerhead attacked Danny Rand and Shang-Chi. A big fight breaks out, and it's like a big kung fu adventure. It's super fun. And then Spider-Man shows up, and he punches Hammerhead in the head, and he's like, "Oh my God, I think I broke my hand!" And then Hammerhead like grabs him and almost takes his mask off. Like, that's how fucked Spider-Man is.
Wow.
He's so unprepared for Hammerhead.
For Hammerhead's vibranium head.
Well, like
Adamantium.
why does
Adamantium.
why does he punch him in the forehead? Just sock him in the jaw.
Maybe
Well, maybe his whole skull is
maybe his
it.
whole
I mean,
skull is
I
it.
don't know.
So Hammerhead's about to shoot Spider-Man. He's like, "This is about to make me." And then Black Cat shows up. Woo!
Yay.
That's woo, but what's that mask?
It's a
Did
cat.
she have that mask before?
It's new.
Yeah, no.
She's up in her cat game.
Yeah.
She read a Batman comic and she's like, huh.
Oh, I like that. Catwoman, yeah. So
Can do.
Black Cat's here, and she's like, if you harm one hair on my boyfriend's head, you and me are gonna have words.
And Spider-Man just goes, "Boyfriend?"
Spider-Man lady goes, "Oh no."
Oh, God, this is going to get complicated.
So they have a big fight. They throw a grenade at Spider-Man. It literally like bounced off his chest, and he's like, "Oh, come on!" Like a grenade. So
What does he do?
Black Cat grabs him, and the two of them like swing away. So
It just blows up. He doesn't web it to like conceal the blast or anything.
no.
Or save nearby
They barely
pedestrians?
managed to get out of the way.
Wow.
But
okay.
they land on a roof, and she's like, and she lands on top of him. She's like, "Hey," and he's like, "Oh, no, you're nuts." Meanwhile, there's a dude in a taxi cab monitoring everything. He's filming with his little like handy cam.
Yeah.
Gene DeWolf, Shang-Chi, Iron Fist, all that stuff.
Oh, who's this guy?
Stephen Grant.
I don't know.
It is Moon
I
Knight.
don't know who that
It's
is.
Moon Knight.
Oh, that's Moon Knight.
One of Moon Knight's personalities / identities. What's funny about that is clearly Bendis didn't read a Moon Knight comic because there are 3 Moon Knights. There's Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, and Jake Lockley.
Okay.
Mark Spector's the rich one. Stephen Grant is the regular one. I don't remember. And Jake Lockley's the cab driver.
Right. Oh.
Oh no.
There is no Jake Lockley in this.
Right.
There is just Stephen Grant and Mark Spector and a third one and a fourth one. But he drives a cab as like an homage. So all those Moon
To
Knight
the other
fans will
one,
be
yeah.
super pissed.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
So Black Cat just tries to forcibly bang Spider-Man like as it's happening.
Just jumps on him.
She just jumps on him, kisses him through the mask. And she lifts up the mask, tries to make it. He's like, "Whoa, okay. Last time I saw you, Elektra threw a sigh in your chest.
Yeah.
You fell off." And she's like, "And I saw you come after me and try to find me. Like, that was so sweet." And he's like, "Yeah, no." And she shows him her boobs and a, like, scar.
See the scar? Yes, I see the scar. I see a lot.
Yes, I see it.
It's a very nice scar.
Yep. He's like, "Okay, so let's do the bullet points. You're Black Cat still? Yep. You're still after the Kingpin? Absolutely. And that's it.
But you're not dead.
But you're not dead. No.
Do you, healing factor? What is the explanation there?
None. maybe she used the tablet. It never comes up.
That'd be hilarious. She's like, I threw it in the water.
Yeah, it was like
It was
right there.
easy to get.
He's like, so what's your end game? She's like, well, I defeat Wilson Fisk, and then I take this off, and you take off your costume, and the two of us do what regular people do. You know, I don't know, ice skating. And he's like, are we dating and no one told me? And she's like, come on, don't tell me you haven't thought about me. He's like, I mean, you know, yeah. She's like, you know, I can see your eyes through those lenses. And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah, you have very pretty eyes. And he's like, I gotta go.
What does she have, like X-ray vision?
I think she's bluffing.
Oh, I see.
But he's like, I gotta go. And she goes, he's married. Damn it. So Moon Knight, blah, 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 references to Marlene. Peter, you know, deletes the message. So we see the inside of Mark Spector's head.
Oh.
We have Mark Spector,
Great.
Stephen Grant. A little girl with red hair is one of his personalities.
Who is not Elektra?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. It's just some girl.
Just okay.
Just one of his personalities is a little girl.
Oh.
And Moon Knight.
Ah.
What, Moon Knight's in there?
Yeah. Moon Knight is a personality in Moon Knight.
That's messed up.
It makes him put on his costume. It's like, you're Moon Knight. In here, this is what the costume looks like. So you gotta go make it out there.
Ah, I see. So like when that personality takes over,
he has to become Moon
he
Knight.
becomes Moon Knight.
Exactly. So
What happens when the little girl personality takes over?
we've never seen it.
Never addressed.
Steven, why are you wearing pigtails?
Yeah. So Peter's at school for a change. He's having lunch. Mary Jane comes over and she's like, so we can't be friends? And he's like, we're friends. And she's like, friends that eat alone and separate from each other? And he's like, fine. And she's like, come on, like, are we ready to get back together yet? Like, you're in love with me and I'm in love with you. And he goes, see, this is the thing. This is why I'm not having lunch with you all the time. Because like, you're not going to stop. Like,
You'll never stop.
Because you're gonna make me break up with you every day.
Oh.
Like, see, this is why I'm eating alone. Because like, I'm hurting your feelings now. Because I'm not gonna stop not wanting to be with you.
Right. Oh.
And she's like, you know, this is bullshit. Like, I'm a cast member in a Spider-Man comic book. I'm always going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but if you're eating lunch with me, like, fucking some supervillain's going to see that and, like,
Exactly.
Put two and two together.
You'll be a target.
Look, we can be friends so long as we never talk,
Right.
we never hang out,
Yep.
and you never contact me.
That's right.
Right. So, yeah,
But other than that,
under
we're total
those
friends.
conditions,
Totally
we're
friends.
Best friends. So, you know, she's like, listen, you're shutting out everything. Like, you're not in school anymore. Like, you're barely here.
What are you talking about? I'm right here. I'm standing
you're
right here.
right
I'm
now.
in school.
Yeah, but she like pushes buttons, and so
Yeah.
he leaves and becomes Spider-Man.
Right.
And so we're seeing like the
It's like,
balance.
see, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because Mary Jane, like at school, I got to deal with this girl who doesn't know anything, and she's in love with me, and I'm in love with her, and she won't stop, and makes me feel things that I want to address.
Right.
And over here, I get to fight people, and black cat women want to make out with me. Like,
It's a whole different kind of life.
I might go all the way.
With this fucking, like, 20-something.
Yeah, with this 26-year-old lady. So Spider-Man goes to Hammerhead's house.
Oh, no.
He takes the
Yeah.
data and he
It's like,
goes
all
there.
right.
And when he gets there, Black Cat's there. She goes, peekaboo, guess who? And he's like, ah! And she's
Are you
like,
following me?
yeah. Yeah, what are you doing?
I love the fact that she snuck up on him because she wasn't a danger.
That's right. And she even says that. She goes like, how did I sneak up on you? Don't you have a spider sense? He's like, first of all, how do you know about my spider sense? And she's like, it's on the internet. Everybody knows about your spider sense. He's like, what?
God damn it.
man. And she's like, listen, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to fuck up the Hammerhead and stop Kingpin's interests and stuff like that. So you stay here because you're too good. You're too precious to me and you're too much of a goody two shoes. Like, you're going to get too involved.
Oh, you're
Right.
too precious.
Yeah. And he's like, no, come on. So they both smash the window. And when they get there, Danny Rand and Shang-Chi already went to Hammerhead's house to mess him up.
Oh.
And Elektra's there too, and the Enforcers, and all of Hammerhead's goons.
Oh.
So Hammerhead's just got to be like, I'm leaving.
Literally, he is just like, this is a nightmare. So...
all right, so it's Hammerhead and the Enforcers and
Elektra.
Elektra. Elektra's on his side?
Elektra is
No, I
there
thought-
to assassinate Hammerhead.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Elektra's against Hammerhead.
Yeah, so
it's Elektra, Iron Fist, Shang-Chi, Black Cat, and Spider-Man.
And Moon Knight.
Oh. And
That's
Moon
right.
Knight's there too.
Moon Knight's
and
there
he's
too.
gonna-
And he's going to cross-attack the Enforcers. But everybody's just kind of like, Like Spider-Man and Black Cat
Right.
smash the window, and they're like, "Whew."
It was already a Mexican
already-
standoff.
Yes. And then Hammerhead goes, Elektra, you are a mercenary. How much is Kingpin paying you? Like 200 large? And she's like, a lot. And he goes, double it and you work for me. And she's like, done. He's like, okay.
Done. Do you have $68 million? Okay.
Oh, shit.
Like, okay, let me just call up Kingpin and see if he'll double that, and then...
Yeah. And then, so he's like, okay, who's going to pay for intruding on my personal life? And then Black Cat goes, Mr. Hammerhead, point of order. I just want to destroy Kingpin. I don't care about any of this. Like, my boyfriend here just smack, and he goes, oh my God. and so he goes, okay. Yeah. And Elektra's like, she's not lying. She hates Fisk. She wants to destroy him. He's like, okay, you can work for me too. Wow, we are really diffusing some situations here right now.
What
I
about
gotta break
Iron
out
Fist?
the espresso and
Right?
the little cookies.
Yeah. And Iron Fist like loses his cool, and the whole thing just goes sideways.
Yeah.
So now Elektra's working for Hammerhead. So now it's literally Shang-Chi, Iron Fist, Spider-Man, Moon Knight, and maybe Black Cat versus
Right.
everybody else.
Okay.
And it just becomes a huge, insane slap fight.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man...
And because it's a giant fight, the art gets a little iffy.
I think it's fun, but it's just like it's a lot of bodies.
Yeah.
I think it's the coloring. The coloring isn't quite there, but
Well, the background just becomes like
just a neutral
just
gradient.
a yellow box. Yeah.
So
Mustard.
I love it because Spider-Man just he just goes like, all right, and he just starts whipping, and then you get a double-page splash of everyone webbed up, literally, and he goes, time out. Literally everybody. Black Cat's covered in webs. She's like, what the hell? And he's like, okay, let's get our bearings here.
Right.
And he's like listing off what he wants to do, and Hammerhead's like, you are so dead. And he webs his mouth.
Nice.
Quiet. I don't want to hear from you. And Shang-Chi goes, hey, Spider-Man, I'm Shang-Chi. I'm a good guy. We fought together in a book earlier. And he's like,
Yeah, that's great.
okay,
Shut up.
You did. You're free. We're going to free Shang-Chi. All right. We're going to do this one by one.
My friends first.
And Black Cat's like, what are you doing, man? He's like, you are crazy. You're beyond crazy. You're crazy hot, but also crazy. And you also try to make a deal with Hammerhead. I don't like that. Like, I can't abide by that. You know what? Everybody, hold on a minute. I have a friend who's a police captain. I'm gonna give her a call. So he calls Jean DeWolf on the friggin' cell phone. And he just goes, hey, so yeah, I'm gonna need to talk to Jean DeWolf. It's Spider-Man. And the receptionist is like, are you kidding me? Is this really Spider-Man? And he's like, yeah, it's really Spider-Man. She's like, oh my God, you saved like a loved one of mine. He's like, really? No kidding. Like, that's awesome. He's like, I'm gonna patch you right through. He's like, see, hey, she's a fan. So Jean DeWolf answers the phone. She's like, are you, like, what?
You want everybody
What
wet?
are you talking about? So Elektra frees herself,
Yeah.
and she throws a sigh. He's like, ooh, I gotta go. And then everybody gets freed,
Yep.
and like chaos continues to ensue.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Big fight.
Yep. And it just becomes a big fight.
Big old fight. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess the cops show up at some
Eventually.
point? Okay.
Moon Knight gets waylaid, and I love it because Hammerhead, Moon Knight's kind of like half capacity. Hammerhead grabs Moon Knight's mask, pulls it off, takes a picture of his face with his phone. He goes, I own you.
Oh, no.
You own 1/3 of me.
Little do you know, I'm also a small redheaded girl.
True, good luck finding her.
Yeah. I don't care about that guy. That's not the personality that's out right now. But they have a big fight. Elektra knocks Spider-Man out the window, and he lands on a car.
Yikes.
And it all goes crab. Like, it's just a disaster.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the police do show up. Jean DeWolf arrives.
Ultimately.
Oh! So Spider-Man lands on the police car. The cops are like, hey, you called Jean? Get up, buddy. Meanwhile, Elektra is freeing Hammerhead, and Hammerhead's gonna shoot Iron Fist in the face, and he's like, "Jeez, this is gonna cost so much. I can't get pinched. I can't afford to get pinched." And Elektra's like, "Wait. So you're saying you can't afford to pay me?" So she stabs him in the chest with her sai.
Oh, jeez.
And throws him out the window. Spider-Man webs Hammerhead to safety. Stops him.
Yeah, he's still bleeding from his chest.
Elektra tries to leave. Black Cat fights Elektra, and then Moon Knight throws one of his moon dagger thingies into the back of Elektra's head.
Oh!
Because he also gets, I think, shot in the chest.
Oh.
And so you think he's down.
Right, but he's not.
but he's not.
Again, just 1/3 of him's down.
That's true.
He just switches into another persona.
Moon Knight will do this a lot, where like he very clearly dies. No, Elektra sighs him,
Okay.
so it's personal.
Right.
But he clearly, like, there are moments where he clearly dies or would, and then just doesn't because the personality goes, "Get up!"
Right.
It's a little girl.
Right.
Right.
So,
But he is still wounded.
yeah. So Black Cat frees Danny Rand and Shang-Chi, and then everybody escapes, but Moon Knight's left behind and some goons.
Oh, yeah.
And then Spider-Man meets up with Black Cat on the roof, and he's just like, that
was messed up.
Get away from me. You're 18 kinds of crazy. And so she like puts her feminine wiles on him, and that
Right.
he's done with that. And so she gets super close. Mm-hmm. Like all up ons, so to speak.
Yeah.
And she's like,
He's like, no, stop.
yeah, oh no. My spider's
That's terrible.
And she's like, I am going to kiss you. And he does not argue. She's like, I'm going to lift up your mask. You're going to show me your face. We're going to make out. And then we're going back to my place. And I'm going to bang you. And he's like, she's lifting her mask. You got to stop her. Stop her from lifting her mask. Don't do it. Okay, here we go.
Okay, hands, stop. Come on, move.
So she takes his mask off, and he is a 15-year-old boy. And he's like, huh? And he like leans in for a kiss, and she's like, oh my God, I thought, no, you just, and she heaves on his dick.
That's not what you want to happen.
And runs away. And he is like, well,
Sweet.
This is the lowest point of my life.
Yep. And she saw my face. Fuck.
Yeah, but she's not going to want to remember it anytime soon.
Well, yeah.
And I like it because it's Bendis' like ultimate version of her, like, whenever Spider-Man takes his mask off, she's like, oh, Peter Parker. No.
Right.
Like,
right.
I want to bang Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yes.
Keep the mask on,
Right.
remove the suit.
But when now that she's like, oh no, you're like a child.
Right. So it's even worse for her.
I'll have you know I've had an on and off relationship for 9 months.
Yeah, my first one. So,
Oh God. I'm a monster.
So then the book ends with Kingpin in a darkened room talking to a beshadowed figure who's giving him the dirt on everything. Explains everything about like what happened in the fight, how Elektra could be bought and turned against him. And he's like, well, I mean, but it's not a total loss. And the figure says, why? And he goes, because Spider-Man trusts you now. And Jean DeWolf says, that's right.
Oh shit!
my
I thought it'd be Black Cat.
Yeah. What do you want me to make him do for you? So, oh no, Jean DeWolf is on the tape.
What a twist.
What a twist for Jean
Pretty
DeWolf.
good.
Yeah, right? Now you don't care if she dies.
Right. Now I want her to die.
That's right. And she will. So,
Hey!
Yay.
anyway, 2 for the price of 1. It's a double-length episode, though.
Cool.
So, but
Was it double?
more
That's
or less.
150.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's double.
But yeah, so there you have it. 2 stories for the price of 1. We're inching ever closer to the Ultimate Clone Saga, which is the one that everybody wants us to do. But I you need context. You can't just like jump in. I mean, really, you don't. But like, I don't want to just do the Ultimate Clones. I don't want to just hit big points because like this is a fun series and I really like it. You should buy it, which is why it's in the comments below. Buy a copy. You can. I'll put Warriors in there. Hobgoblin. Yeah.
You know that if you're buying Warriors, you can buy Hobgoblin.
That's right.
It's not that hard of a
That's
search.
right. I mean, you could buy the whole series. I did, and I got all these on like eBay for like pennies on the dollar. You know, but like anyway.
Like an oil man would.
That's right.
Pennies on the dough.
If I told you I was a Spider-Man fan, you would agree.
It's just how I hear it in my head.
What a topical reference we can make. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys next week with another episode that won't be Ultimate Spider-Man. Hopefully, we won't wait like another 1.5 years to do the next
one?
volume.
But-
we'll see.
But it's on you.
Here's the thing: if no one watches this episode, it's gonna be a long time.
Yeah.
I gotta wait for us to like recoup our losses. It's fun. It's a good show. I like this book, so I'm happy to talk about it. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. So long.